Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to No Name Gaming. After a week off, we are excited to be back at the track to bring you tonight's race of the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship. Before we talk about the race, we'd like to take a moment to thank all of the men and women who have served in the military to help protect our country and our freedoms. We all appreciate your dedication to our country. For tonight's race, we are up in the state of New York for our first road course of the season. We are live at the virtual Watkins Glen International for the FRG Designs 55 at the Glen. Last time at the Stars and Stripes 300, we saw drama, long green flag runs, 5 overtimes, and a winner in JT Sipes. Things could really shake up tonight though, since we will be making right turns for the first time of the season. Anyone can jump out of the woodwork as a road course ringer. My name is Alex Lane. I'm excited to bring you flag-to-flag coverage of the OMA's Virtual Racing Championship. Now, taking a look here in the chat, seeing Will Reagan talking about how some oval drivers have issues start making right turns. I feel that, man. I really feel that. So let's take a look over at the point standings, because there were some shakeups after our race at Charlotte. So let's head on over that way. And taking a look at the standings, Drew Jewell still tops the board. He's currently 61 points up on the cut line. He is, I'm doing the math correctly, Matt Harry, 16 points ahead of his teammate, Tim Moore. Jolene Sims, even though she had a little bit of a rough time at Charlotte, moved up 3 positions. She is now in 3rd place. Then you have Isaac Shelley. Jarrett Talmadge moved up 3 spots into 5th. Min Hang, which is a really interesting story here tonight. Min Hang, an independent driver up until tonight. He signed with McGuinness Esports, so he'll be joining them as their full-time driver. So he is very excited to be joining a team here moving forward throughout the rest of the season. Fellow rookie Eric O'Connor is in 7th. JT Sipes, he moved up 3 spots into the top 10 here. He is 8th place. Kevin Arguelles is up 1. He's in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Ryan Miniker. One person who dropped pretty far is Thomas Green. Green dropped 7 spots. However, he did not race in the Stars and Stripes 300. He missed out on the Charlotte race, so he took a bit of a slide there. If he does end up coming in tonight, maybe see him move up. We'll have to wait and see, though, if he's going to be able to make the grid. Going further back here, we have Tyler Glass, then James Mendez, Jonathan West, Jonathan Modio, Kyle England, Brad Qualls, Jared Newton, Austin Mongold, and then Brandon Schulenberger. That rounds out your top 20. Taking a look at the team standings, nothing actually changed in terms of the order. The order stayed the same. The points differences, some got a little bit tighter, some got a little bit closer. You see OCM Racing pulled away from McGuinness Esports last week, and Planet Sims Esports, they tried to close that gap a little bit, 14 points behind McGuinness right now. Really close battle between 5th and 6th for Ohio River Racing and Gavin Hudspeth Racing, only a difference of 4 points, as well as HTC Racing and Team Miscraft, only 5 points separate the two of them. So some really good battles in the team standings, going a little bit further down the order. But we'll see. McGuinness has had some really good pace. The big thing that they've been struggling with is finishing, and that's where it really hurts them, making a couple of decisions here and there to be able to get all the way to the end. Taking a look at the schedule here for the rest of the season. Right now we are at Watkins Glen race number 5 on the season. We got 9 more races after tonight that gets us to the playoffs. Next week we kick off the first of our doubleheader at Atlanta. We are going to go to the newly reconfigured Atlanta Motor Speedway, the super speedway-like track, the 1.5-mile oval that it is. And then the week after, we will take a blast to the past and go to the old 2008 style Atlanta Motor Speedway. In my opinion, I think it's the better, but hey, it is what it is. It's going to create some really interesting racing nonetheless. Whoops. Turn that music off. We don't need the music back on again. There we go. But taking a look real quick at the track, you can see some information here about tonight. We've had two previous winners gridding up tonight between Jarrett Talmadge and Drew Jua. Drew Jua won last season here at Watkins Glen. Back in season 3, Jarrett Talmadge took the win. Eddie Kalegi, who had the privilege, I had the privilege of having him join me in the booth. Sorry, I almost said that backwards there. I had the honor of having him up in the booth. He is the season 1 winner. And then you could see right there in the middle, winning 4 in a row for McGuinness Motorsports, was Sebastian Kukulon. I hope I said that correctly. But Sebastian dominated for 4 straight seasons. He is not in the VRC. He actually runs the IFC Formula Series. So yeah, he is definitely a road course runner by that means. But it looks like qualifying should just be wrapping up here very, very shortly. A little bit of a smaller field here tonight. It looks like we're going to have 20 taking the grid. But we do have qualifying wrapping up here very, very shortly. And yep, there it is. It looks like qualifying is set. So, taking the pole yet again. She has been a very fast runner, and she has the speed to win races. Just being able to stay up the front at the end is Jolene Sims taking first place. On the front row next to her will be Isaac Shelley. Back in the second row, we have Drew Jua and then Min Hang. Like I said, Min Hang joining McGinnis Motorsports. In fifth place, Jarrett Talmadge and then JT Sipes. Going in the fourth row, Eric O'Connor, Tim Moore. So you've got a little bit of a lockout there in row 4 for OCM Racing. Then rounding out the top 10, we've got James Mendez and Kevin Yerguez. Outside of the top 10, we've got Luca Mazzilli and Kyle England. Going a little bit further back, we've got 13th, Victor Imbasiani. So Victor Imbasiani is actually standing in for Tyler Glass. Tyler Glass does not run the road races. Victor Imbasiani will be stepping in. He is also being moved to the reserve driver for McGinnis Motorsports. Going past that, in 14th, we've got Greg Corte. Then 15th, Brad Qualls. And 16th, Fabricio Lamana. Jonathan Amodio and Jared Newton take the 9th row, and rounding out our field for tonight is Ryan Miniker. So only a field of 19. You can take a look. We'll go back here to race info for the track for those of you not very familiar with the track. Nothing really too intense in terms of corners. Everything is pretty high speed corners, a couple slower ones as you get to the end of the track. But the most intense parts are going to come in these heavy braking zones, such as turn 1. You're going to get some good speed going to that. Heading into the bus stop chicane on the back stretch is going to create some really interesting passing opportunities. And then going into right after the carousel, you get a nice long stretch before you do a little kink to get back to the front stretch. So lots of opportunities to make some passes here tonight, be able to make some moves. But the other thing to keep in mind as we go throughout tonight's race, the track temperature is very hot. It is 125 degrees. It's a lot because you typically don't see track temperatures that high. But it's going to be interesting to see how it affects tire wear, it affects grip. It is going to be extremely loose as we go throughout tonight's race. The other thing to keep in mind as we go throughout tonight's race, there is going to be no cautions unless it is a track blocking wreck. The caution will not be thrown. So we are planning on going green flag racing all the way through for all 55 laps here at Watkins Glen, which is going to create some really interesting strategies because you're still going to take stage points at normal time at the halfway point. But we're going to have to see how things play out with who decides to short pit, who decides to take it a long way, who takes tires. That's another thing with these Gen 7 cars. Tires is a really interesting option. Some people like to take the tires, some people do not. And it kind of varies. Sometimes you come out, the tires feel great on a fresh set. Sometimes you come out, it takes a couple laps to get them warmed up. So there's going to come that strategy as well. Lots to take in mind here on pit road. The race can be won and lost on pit road this week for sure, especially with the fact that there are no cautions. Now, before we get more into tonight here, let's take a look on board here. We're going to hop on board real quick with Drew Jua. So Drew's actually helping us out with something new tonight. We are doing a driver cam. We're testing this out, seeing how it's going to go. But Drew is giving us the opportunity to look into his sim rig. And so we'll see how we'll check in with him throughout the night, see how things are going, get a look at what it looks like on the other side of the sim, and see how things go on his end. So thank you, Drew, for stepping up and helping us out with this. I really am excited to test out this driver cam. So back into, we're getting ready to go green. So we're going to have the pace car coming off, and the nice Porsche that it is. Jolene Sims going to lead the field to the green flag, and here we go. The pace car's coming off. And the field is in the hands of Jolene Sims. Start is on the green flag, and we are green flag racing here at Watkins Glen. She gets a nice jump there. He's going to be able to get ahead of Isaac Shelley heading into turn 1, but it is going to be a bit of a mess further back. We have 3 wide in some spots. Isaac Shelley goes off track, and it looks like Jolene gets a little bit of loose out of the exit of 1, but we are clean all the way through the field. Min Hang is going to try and jump up to the front, going around the S's here. Up the hill we go. Isaac Shelley pulls ahead to the lead. Min Hang in second place. And then last race's winner, JT Sipes, back in third. And so we go into the bus stop chicane. It looks like things are going to stay clean. They managed to negotiate. Actually, go single file there heading in. Nobody wants to be too aggressive early on. But plenty of time. I mean, when it comes to road course racing, especially if the track temperature is as hot as it is, you're racing the track less than you are racing the other drivers, because the track getting grip is really, really hard to find. A little bit further back, it looks like there was a bit of an incident here. You got James Mendez. He's beat up, as well as Ryan Miniker behind him. We'll have to go back a little bit later and see what happened between those two drivers that caused that incident. And so looking here now, Isaac Shelley pulling away with Min Hang. They've got almost a second gap back to JT Sipes and the rest of the crew. But things really spreading out. We did have a couple drivers get some incidents here, looks like. Heard a couple things about black flags over the radio. Not sure if somebody was forced all the way down in towards pit road and crossed the line. But it looks like things are kind of navigated through. Kevin Yerguez is in the pits, as well as Ryan Miniker. It looks like Miniker needs to get that damage all taken care of. But through the first lap, other than one incident between Miniker and Mendez, things are relatively cleared. And we have a moment. Let's go take a look at what had happened here between those drivers. You got James Mendez in the subway car coming up the S's. Car just gets a little loose. He actually collects Kevin Yerguez. And so it looks like with Miniker, he comes in, gets collected, as well as they came down the track. Just unfortunate for those drivers. So Kevin Yerguez actually got caught up in that as well. So we'll have the track map up as well for you guys, so you can follow around the drivers here around Watkins Glen. And we have it up by driver number, so you'll be able to see where each driver is on the track rather than doing position. It gets a little bit crazy trying to figure out who is what position, having to look back to the leaderboard. But going through, Min Hang actually pulls away here a little bit. He has the lead currently. He's got himself a pretty sizable gap back to JT Sipes, starting to pull away. Oh my goodness, a little bit of a slide as he gets some wheel hop over the first turn there of the bus stop. That's going to allow JT to really close in, come within a second there after Min Hang was really starting to spread out and get some serious speed here in the early laps. Looking further back, a lot of drivers sometimes having some trouble. It's really tough to negotiate coming off the carousel. If you don't hit that curbing right, it will definitely turn that car. But through lap 4, Min Hang able to hold on to the lead. Let's go a little bit further back here in the field and take a look at a battle going on here. It's Victor Imbasiani is the battle currently for 10th place, trying to hunt down Lucas Mazzilli. So McGinnis Esports reserve driver stepping in for the number 9, Tyler Glass here tonight. Needs a little bit overshoot there on the exit of turn 1. That's going to allow Mazzilli to be able to pull ahead a little loose there. Ooh, feel you can hear the back end pick out a little bit, and he has to get off throttle for it. And so that's one thing that's going to, again, like I said at the beginning of the race here, we're going to have that trouble throughout the entire race. Cars getting loose because that track temperature is really, really hot. You've got to be really careful with how much you throw this car, especially as in these early laps on the tires. You really got to get them heated up. But you have to find that fine line of pushing too hard. We've got one car loose here. It looks like that is, I believe it's Fabricio Lamana. Take a look here and see if that is. Yes, he's having a little bit of issues here. He's blinking around a little bit, so unfortunate for him. Looks like he might be dropping out for a minute or two. So back into the action here. We've got Eric O'Connor fighting with Jolene Sims for 4th place right now. He's right on her tail. Jolene had a little bit of a slip up there on the first lap. Ended up dropping her back a few spots, but finds herself only 3 seconds behind Min Heng. And for those of you that don't recall, last race, Min Heng and Jolene Sims, they had quite the interesting scuffle there on the front stretch where Jolene Sims, she actually hooked Min Heng and caused him to, unfortunately caused him to wreck out of the race. He had phenomenal speed, potential to maybe win the race if he kept up that pace, but ended up finishing his, well, it didn't finish his night. He did come back out on track, gain a couple of positions, but it pretty much ended his chances for winning. And as we see this battle here for 4th place, Eric O'Connor gets a great run out of the carousel. Is going to be able to close that gap a good bit. Might be able to make a run down the front stretch, but they have to work around Ryan Miniker here as he almost looks to go to the outside of Jolene Sims. He's going to look out that way, but isn't going to get a great run as he has to slow up for Ryan Miniker, who's on that outside of the line. So it's going to allow Jolene Sims to pull away a little bit, not too much, but get a little bit of distance here, get a little bit of comfortable gap here. Not too far behind them, they also have Eric O'Connor's teammate Tim Moore. He's battling with Isaac Shelley for 6th place. So Shelley started in 2nd place, has dropped back a good bit here so far, but still very, very early in this race. Lap 6 again. We stage will be around, I believe, 27 or 28. So plenty of time to be able to make up some ground. And like I said, it does take time for these tires to get comfortable, really get a feel for how they're going to stick to the track. What a bus stop chicane by Isaac Shelley. He manages to cut those corners really well, takes advantage of the wide exit there from Tim Moore, and that's going to bump him up into 6th place. See if he can hunt down Eric O'Connor and Jolene Sims. They actually pulled away a good bit there. And taking a look back up at that battle, Eric O'Connor looks down to the inside line. He's got the car there, but it's not going to be a smart move. He decides to back out. He's going to see if he can get that run on the front stretch. Both of them get a little loose on exit. The car kicks out just a little bit. Let's go take a look here. Now that we've got some green flag racing, and actually they've got a good battle going on back here now for 7th place. Let's go take a look on board with Drew Jua. And you can see just what it's like here going around the track. We go on the bus stop, get a bit of a kick there. Those curbs very, very aggressive. If you're not careful, it will turn that car. It takes a lot of sawing as you go over those curbs coming off the carousel. There's a lot to handle. While it doesn't seem like the track itself is extremely difficult, there's a lot of nuance about this track to be able to have some really good pace. And you have to do a lot of fighting with the car in order to keep it straight, especially when this track temp is as hot as it is. What a run by Drew. He gives his teammate a little nudge, says, hey, I'm here. I've got the speed. We'll see what he decides to do coming into turn number 1. He's going to take it deep through turn 1. A little bit of a lockup further ahead. It looks like Jolene Sims off on the runoff in turn 1. Eric O'Connor will take the position. And let's go join up with that battle further ahead. As those 3 now battling for position with Eric O'Connor currently in front of that. So Jolene Sims actually drops behind Isaac Shelley now. So she's sliding a decent bit here. Could be that slide heated up her tires too much. The grip just not there. And she's really dropping here in the early stages of the race. Still plenty of time though. But it seems like this group, they just are steadily falling behind that of Min Heng, JT Sipes, and Jarrett Talmadge, because they are keeping pretty consistently ahead, even gaining time here and there. And if we jump ahead real far, you can go see where Min Heng is. Oh, he's all by himself, just exiting turn number 1. And he's had great pace all race long so far. You can take a look here. Just over the past couple laps, he's gained himself over a second of time over JT Sipes. And so it just seems to be keep getting better here. We'll see if that's going to continue. If that trend keeps going the way it is for Manhang, he might have himself a runaway win and be another repeat winner, joining Drew Jua and those that have won 2 races this early in the season. Taking a look a little bit further back in the field here. Let's take a look at Brad Qualls, Jared Newton. He's trying to hunt him down. Actually, we can go a little bit further up here between Greg Corte and Jared Newton. They're going to go side by side into the bus stop, and it looks like Corte just barely has that edge. Gets that nose ahead. Be careful, though. That back end looked like it was sliding through the first turn. Manages to get control of it as they go into the carousel. So you've got a good battle going on here. Battle for 11th place between Corte, Newton, and Qualls. It looks like Corte really good through these slower speed corners. Oh, good recovery by Brad Qualls. That car really slid out of it, and I'm getting into that straight. Same with Jared Newton, but he manages to recover. So that's like you can see, the grip is very, very, very slip. There's not a lot on the track. Some of these drivers really struggling with it, but Jared Newton able to keep that gap with Greg Corte so far. We'll see if Corte is going to be able to pick up the pace a little bit, try and catch up and get that draft with Miniker in front of him and hopefully pull him further ahead, maybe separate a little bit. But Newton, really good section here through the S's. Has great pace, is going to give him an opportunity maybe to take a run into the bus stop. He's going to hang back here, see if maybe he can work his way around here. He's going to take the early cut in, try and cut it as close to that guardrail as he can, and try and set up a move into the carousel. He is right on the back bumper there of Corte as they go into the carousel. Corte really wide through that turn. If Newton can get that momentum, might have the position there. He gets ahead, and it looks like he is going to be clear, but look out, Brad Qualls right behind. He is closing that gap rather quickly, and so he might have an opportunity to make a move on Corte as well. But a really good move, Jared Newton. Phenomenal sector through the S's. I mean, phenomenal speed. Was really good with it. A little bit of a lock up there from Corte into turn 1. That's going to cause him to overshoot turn 1, and that's actually going to give Qualls the position there. So Brad Qualls now up to 12th place, and he's up now 3 positions. But Jared Newton, the big mover on the day so far, he is up 7 spots back from his starting spot in 18th. Looking a little bit further up the track here, taking a look at Jared Talmadge and Eric O'Connor and Isaac Shelley. A little bit further back here is the battle for 3rd place going on. So Eric O'Connor has closed that distance with Jared Talmadge. You can see here, we'll take a look here at the times over the past couple laps. Eric O'Connor has been very quick, but a little bit of a slip up from Talmadge back on lap 9. Actually, no, it just looks like Eric O'Connor had some alien pace on lap 9 as he had over a second gain. So, I mean, over the course of the last 4 laps, Eric O'Connor has closed in just about 2 full seconds. Actually, it would be 2 full seconds. So he's been doing really good work here now that it seems like everything has settled in really nicely for him. He is within striking range, less than half a second away. You can see Isaac Shelley closes that gap to within a second, so might be able to give a bit of a fight here as well. And you can see just coming out of the carousel over the curbing, that is JT Sipes. There's, while they are about 1 1/4 seconds away, there's still a pretty good distance, but coming out of the carousel, Talmadge has really good pace here through these slower speed corners, able to get himself a good bit ahead, and hopefully he's going to try and pull away from Eric O'Connor. And you can see Isaac Shelley just hanging on back there. So that back half of the track, Jared Talmadge really good. He's got some phenomenal pace through there. But then it comes into this front section here, going through the S's especially. Eric O'Connor's got some good pace. And that's the one thing. Because these are higher speed corners, that toe that you get by being behind, like Eric O'Connor is, like Isaac Shelley is it really helps you to get that momentum heading into turn number one. Into the bus stop. As you can see, O'Connor is going to bring that back in within about a half second. He goes late on the brakes. He's going to try and close some gap up. But then once they come out of the carousel, it seems to be where Jared Talmadge really can make some moves. So it looks like things on track really starting to spread out. Talmadge, a really wide exit there out of the carousel. So here comes Eric O'Connor. He's going to have an opportunity to make a move as we head down towards the front stretch. But he's not able to get that gap there quite as close as he would have liked. We'll see if he decides to go late on the brakes into turn number one. Still early to make an aggressive move. Don't want to take yourself out of this race, but you can see Talmadge taking the defensive line. Look to the inside for a second. O'Connor is going to try and dive in. The rookie goes for the move. He's going to be able to clear the past champion here at Watkins Glen. And now that's third place for Eric O'Connor. He's up 4 spots from where he started. He's been having a great run for himself and seems to be getting faster as this race goes on. Jared Talmadge now finds himself in a sandwich between O'Connor and Shelley. Shelley didn't have the best of starts, but has now found a ton of pace and is starting to work his way back up. A little bit of the grass there, you can see the car wiggling a tiny bit. Is able to get it back under control. So Isaac Shelley going to see if he can make that move for 4th place. We take a look a little bit further back here in the field. You can see a couple drivers that have found themselves kind of spaced out. You've got Jolene Sims, your pole sitter, back to 7th place, and things just haven't gone great for her, unfortunately, tonight. Just not quite the race, or at least the start of the race that she would have liked to have. You can see, actually, we'll go to the driver in front, to Drew Jua. Drew's been finding some phenomenal pace. Unfortunately, Jolene just hasn't had that same luck. He's losing about a half second or more each lap while running. I mean, 112s are very respectable. They're good times, but I mean, yeah, some of these drivers still running in the 111s, and so that's just not going to cut it. And you can see even further back here, Tim Moore. He's been running really well all season long. He's been put into the top 10s, top 5s. He's running second in points, but unfortunately tonight so far just does not seem to have that pace that some of these other drivers have. But he's been doing a really good job all season long with strategy. While he might not be the fastest, strategy can definitely come into play for him here tonight. We'll see if that's going to work out for him, currently running in 8th place. Right now, the fastest driver on track would be that of the number 4, Drew Jua. And he is now fighting here in the battle for 5th place with Shelley, actually 4th place with Shelley and Talmadge. Still a bit of a gap to go. He's got about a half second to close in, but he took what was about a 2 or 3 second gap several laps ago and has really shrunk that down to where he's in striking distance. And even look further ahead, you've got JT Sipes under fire from Eric O'Connor. Eric O'Connor has really reined him in. It's been phenomenal to see O'Connor just very consistent, very fast. We get ready to go into the bus stop. And he's going to take it side by side into the bus stop, and a little bit of a lockup for one of them. And man, JT Sipes is able to shut the door there on Eric O'Connor. We almost have ourselves a 5-way fight for 2nd place. Wide turn through the carousel, but it might work out as momentum by O'Connor. Oh my gosh, Drew Jewell way off track. Managed to bring it back in. They are side by side behind here as they fight for 5th place. And they're still going to be side by side headed into the final corner. Isaac Shelley, Drew Jua, neck and neck as they come to the start-finish line. We'll see who's going to be on the top 5. Looks like it's going to be Drew's. He had that wide turn there through the exit. Caused him to lose a little bit of time, but both of them should be able to close that back in, especially if you have O'Connor and Sipes still battling out. While we looked away, Eric O'Connor actually took the 2nd place position from JT Sipes. And so he's going to try and hunt down your race leader, Min Hang, who's been very comfortably all by himself as he exits the bus stop. You can just see how much of a gap he's got. 6 seconds so far. Just domination from the rookie. But right now, the rookies are controlling the field. 1-2 between Min Hang and Eric O'Connor, showing some road course prowess here tonight. A really, really good start to tonight's race for the two of these. We'll see if they can keep up that pace, though, as we go. So while things are strung out for a moment here, just want to remind you that tonight's coverage of the Online Motorsports Association is brought to you by Motorsports Today. You can check out Eddie Kalegi talking about anything motorsports related, as well as regular sports. He covers all sorts of different things. You can listen every Friday from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern on WRSU.org, or you can find the archived episodes over on Spotify by searching Motorsports Today. So make sure you go check that out. Again, coverage brought to you by Motorsports Today. Got a little bit of a fight further back in the field here. We're going to take a look here between Ryan Miniker and Kyle England. That Krispy Kreme shining there as it comes around the carousel. And actually going to make the move on Ryan Miniker. Looks like Miniker went in, got the car repaired. He's still struggling for a little bit of pace there, as he seems to be a little slow coming out of the carousel. And so it's going to be a nice, easy pass there for Kyle England. That moves him up to 16th. There's still plenty of time to make up some ground here as we go throughout the race. But back up to where the battle is happening. You've got Drew Jua, Jared Talmadge currently fighting for 5th place. Oh, sorry. Talmadge and Shelley fighting it out for 5th place. Drew Jua is now trying to get onto the podium in 3rd place. And Shelley has a good opportunity. Doesn't have the speed on the front stretch, but he might try and go late on the brakes here into turn number 1. He's going to get side by side with Talmadge. Is he going to try and shove him off track? A little bit of bump there. So they hit the doors going off of turn 1 through the S's. Shelley is going to at least have it through the first turn. They make contact again. Jared Talmadge has the advantage here through the 2nd turn on the S's. Now coming around to the backstretch. It's going to be neck and neck. They might be side by side still as we go into the bus stop chicane. Yes, they are. And man, can they get it through the bus stop side by side. Jared Talmadge is going to back out there, but is going to try and set up an opportunity through the carousel as he cuts that really clean. He's done a really good job of having some great pace. Gives a nudge to Shelley. He's going to go for the bump and run through the carousel. They make contact, and that's going to be Jared Talmadge in the wall. And actually, he goes down the boot. Oh my goodness. You can take a look here. Jared Talmadge is way off course after he got turned by the number 98, Isaac Shelley. Thankfully, no intense damage, at least, for the 16. But let's go take a look at that again at a better angle here. We'll take a look at it from the blimp angle. And so that's set up from here. He gives him the bump and run through the carousel. Gets side by side. Shelley not very fond of that move. And so Shelley ends up hooking him. And he does, yeah, he makes a little bit of contact there with the barrier as he slides down the boot. So Jared Talmadge now finds himself way off. He was running up there in the top 5. He's had some great pace. Finds himself back in 8th place right now. To back up further, though, Justin Sipes still fighting with Drew Jua here. This is the battle for 3rd place, sliding into back into the final sector. Oh, we have a Victor Imbasciani currently stuck in the guardrail. He missed the barrier just by a hair. Honestly, might have avoided more of a disaster. If he had hit the barrier, would have sent it back up on track. Now let's go see what had happened there. You get him stuck into the fence. So Imbasciani just catches that curb. But like I said, that curb, sometimes you catch it the wrong way, it will just send the car. And that's what happened. Actually, oh, he just able to get it off, far enough off, it wasn't going to affect anybody. Smart move by Victor Imbasciani to be able to avoid any more damage or incidents on the track. Back up here, battle for 3rd place still going on. It's tight. Jua closed up a ton of time, but just can't seem to bring that gap all the way tight, as he's been hanging about anywhere between a quarter and a half second back behind here. It is not the boot course, by the way, Loveless. No, Loveless, I know you didn't join us at the top of the stream, but we are not throwing cautions tonight unless there is a track blocking wreck. So wrecks like that, or if somebody hits the fence and they're able to get it going again, stuff like that, that will not warrant a caution. Now, if there's something like you have, say, on the front stretch, where you've got 3-4 cars piled up, they're trying to get it back on track and everything, that will bring out the caution. So that is the only time we're going to have a caution here tonight. But this could be an interesting move here, as JT Sipes very close behind Drew Jua, who finally makes his way around the number 81. And that puts Drew Jua on the podium now. Let's take a look here. Eric O'Connor has been making some serious work on your race leader, Min Hang. And you can just see just how fast he has been over the past couple laps. I mean, he gained a half second last lap. He gained almost a full second over on the previous 2 laps, laps 19 and 20. So over the course of, 4 laps, he has gained about about 2.5 to 3 seconds worth of time. Eric O'Connor has had amazing pace and just seems to be getting faster. As you can see on lap 18, it is highlighted green. That is his fastest lap of the race. And so he just keeps getting faster and faster, car getting more and more comfortable. And I would not be surprised if he is one of those drivers that warrants not taking tires at the stage break, just so he doesn't have to worry about trying to get them reheated, because he had a little bit of a sluggish start and then things really picked up as he went throughout the race. But let's take a look here at your biggest mover of the race, and that is the 25 of Jared Newton. Jared Newton has gained a ton of pace here, a ton of time here, from 18th to 10th, and knocking on the door for another position here as he's looking to take down Luca Mazzilli for 9th place. As a look to the outside, not going to be able to get that move done. Mazzilli shuts the door heading into the final 2 corners. But Jared Newton, he was struggling a little bit earlier for pace. The car seemed to be a little slidey on him, but it seems like he's got it under control for the most part. Got everything heated up the way it needs to. He's been doing a really good job. As I say that, he gets a little too wide on exit, catches the grass. But hopefully, he'll be able to get that pace back, because he's been faster than Luca Mazzilli for the past few laps. And his pace has been very, very consistent. Because his fastest lap right now is a 1:13. His laps have been around the upper part of 1:13. But, the fact that he's within a second with the tires wearing off and stuff like that, it's been really, really good here for Jared Newton. So don't be surprised to see him maybe move up another spot or 2 before this whole race is over. Checking back in, though, with Jarrett Talmadge all by himself here, 18th. Unfortunately, you can see he is 35 seconds back. That puts him another 17 seconds behind Tim Moore, the next person for position. So it just seems like unless some other incident happens or something happens in pit road with somebody speeding or anything like that, Jared Talmadge finds himself in a very unfortunate situation. But, you could see over the lap prior, whenever he was fighting with Isaac Shelley, both drivers bumping, dooring, they were being very aggressive. So, sometimes when you get very aggressive with each other, moves are bound to happen. And it just seemed like Isaac Shelley maybe got to the end of the line and was not willing to deal with it anymore. We got a battle brewing here between James Mendez and Kevin Yerguez as they go through turn 1 side by side. James Mendez goes a bit wide, but he's still going to stay side by side with Kevin Yerguez. Going to drop behind as they go into the S's, but that's going to be good for him. He's going to have that momentum as he took the wide line. And coming up the hill they go. He might be able to bring it close as they go into the bus stop. Depending on how he takes the line through the bus stop, might be able to get side by side with Yerguez as they go through the carousel. Both drivers find themselves a lap down, but that's not a terrible spot to be in. But if you recall, back at the beginning of the race, both of these drivers did get involved in an incident, had damage. They had to come in and get repaired, so that's how they found themselves a lap down. Other than that, they've both been racing fairly well. Lap times like sitting around that 113, 114 mark, which is good for these drivers who are sitting around that top 10 mark. Mendez trying to close that gap in on Yerguez, just can't seem to find that little bit of extra pace. He's been trying real hard, just can't seem to find enough of it as he clips the wall there. He was getting pretty close there. Was about a quarter of a second back, but that wall ends up killing his run on the exit. So we're on lap 25. Stage break coming up soon. Then after that, pit stop should be following fairly shortly. And Mazzilli having a bit of a runoff there, it looks like. And that's actually going to be an opportunity. Jared Newton now jumps ahead. He's going to be into 9th place. So that's now 9th spots gain for the 25 car. He's been having himself a very good run here tonight. And so we'll see if he can continue that climb. Next car, though, is Jarrett Talmadge, and he is over 20 seconds away of the 25 car. So we'll see if he's going to be able to close that gap. So while there's a little bit of a lull in the action, let's go check in on Drew Juma. He's currently running in 4th place. And you can see on board here, as well as in his sim, it's a bit of a grind here around Watkins Glen. I mean, you've got 55 laps without a break too. I mean, that's a nice thing about when you do ovals. We've had cautions here and there. Even though you might get like a full green flag run, you have that opportunity to get a break. But road course racing, if you're not as comfortable with it, it definitely takes a more mental side of it, because you really have to focus where your break points are and things like that. But Drew's been doing a phenomenal job as he has found some extra pace here. Oh, a little bit of a blink there, sorry about that. But he's been doing a really good job closing in that gap, running in the mid to low 111 times. And so currently finds himself 6.5 seconds back. But we'll jump back ahead here. Take a look at the... Oh, I'm having a little bit of blinks there, a little bit of connection issues for Drew, but we'll take a look here at Eric O'Connor. And he is trying to get Min Hang right into his grasp. He is right there, less than a second away. And we'll take a look here. You can see just over the past few laps, Eric O'Connor, first off, last lap, fastest lap of the race with a 1:11.1. That is absolutely insane, especially with the track temp the way it is. With track temperatures pushing over 120 degrees Fahrenheit in absolutely insane temperatures. But you can take a look over the lap times. I mean, he's been gaining at least a quarter of a second each lap over Min Hang, and now has Min Hang within a second. So this battle has been getting really, really good. And we'll see. We might get ourselves a fight here within the next couple laps, depending on how these pit strategies play out. The question is, if one goes in, who's going first? Is it going to be Min Hang and Eric O'Connor responds, or does O'Connor go and then try and see if he can undercut Min Hang? I still think that Eric O'Connor should stay out, or not stay out, but when he comes in, not take tires, because his car has been really, really good on this old set of tires. He's been doing a great job, again, just getting faster, it seems like, each and every lap. But we are crossing that halfway point of the race. And with that halfway point of the race, we are going to take a look at the running order here. I missed maybe the stage there because it would have been a lap or two ago. But taking a look here through the top 10, we've got Min Hang. Behind Min Hang, we have Eric O'Connor. Then you go back about 6.5 seconds, you've got Drew Jua. Then Isaac Shelley. And then rounding out the top 10 is JT Sipes. Then it seems like she's settled in very, very well. In 6th place is Jolene Sims. Then you've got Tim Moore. Back in 8th place is Jarrett Talmadge. And then your biggest mover so far of the race is Jared Newton. Rounding out the top 10, you've got Luca Mazzilli. Going outside of the top 10, we've got Jonathan Amodio. Then you've got Brad Qualls, the first person to come down pit road, it looks like, for fuel. So going for that short pit strategy. Then going into 13th, we've got James Mendez, Kevin Urguez. They're both still fighting real hard here for 13th position. Then you've got Greg Corte, Ryan Miniker, And then Kyle England also down pit road, but he had an incident earlier on. We could go take a look at that here in a moment, see what happened. And then the driver's already out for tonight's race. Unfortunately, Victor Imbasciani and Fabricio Lamana. So taking a look, let's go see what happened with Kyle England there. See if we can figure out what caused him to come down pit road. Getting ready to head into the bus stop. It looks like the car probably just broke loose on him through the bus stop or the carousel. Yeah, those curves. I mean, if you're not careful, they jump the car. Car gets loose. It's hard to get the control back. And so, yeah, he caught the curb hop. And unfortunately, the car just said, no, thank you. But back into the battle. We got Min Hang, Eric O'Connor, neck and neck. Min Hang, he hasn't been slow, that's for sure. His pace has been one of the fastest on track, under 112 all race long. But Eric O'Connor just been incredibly quick as he catches the grass there, trying to see if he can run for a wide entrance. That's going to lose him some precious time. However, we did have our first pit stopper come in. That would be the number 4 of Drew Jua, the first one to come down pit road out of the cars on the lead lap. We've had several come down now, that being Brad Qualls. Kevin Yerguez is now in pit road. Jonathan Amodio, as well as Kyle England. Like we said, Kyle England getting some damage repaired. Let's battle for first place. It's almost going to come down to who's going to blink first, who's going to come down pit road, as these guys have been fighting it out now for about 2 laps, because Eric O'Connor, again, has hunted down Min Hang. And it's been a phenomenal run for both these drivers, the rookies, just controlling the field so far. But into the bus stop, Eric O'Connor just seems to be hanging back, doesn't want to be too aggressive. We've seen what happened with some drivers that have been very aggressive early on in this race, and some of them have really lost out, that being Jared Talmadge. Got spun by Isaac Shelley and found himself way back the order. But Eric O'Connor just kind of minding his time right now. Maybe waiting to see when Min Hang is going to come down pit road. Will either of them make the move this time to come down pit road? It doesn't seem like it. Or maybe Eric O'Connor is coming down. Yes, he is. So Eric O'Connor is going to come down pit road before Min Hang go for the short pit. The question is, does he take tires, or does he just take a full tank of fuel and move on? Looking further behind, Isaac Shelley is going to take second place then as he passes Eric O'Connor. And behind him would be JT Sipes, but Sipes still about a second and a half behind here from Shelley. Shelley has been doing a phenomenal job running this race. He started off a little rough, and he's been having that issue where it just seems like his early runs have not been great. Doesn't matter the track. He's just been struggling on the early run, but he gets better and better as he goes on throughout the race, gains back all those positions, and we find that again here today. He started here in second place. He dropped back, I believe it was as far as about 6th or 7th, and has found his way back up to second place. We'll see if the long strategy staying out further is going to be the play here, though. Eric O'Connor comes out in 6th place and is currently 39 seconds behind Min Hang. So we'll see. We'll have to remember that as we go further into the pit cycle. Actually, Min Hang comes down just this lap. So decides he sees O'Connor come down. Doesn't want to wait longer than that. Comes down pit road himself. So we'll see how these drivers do with a full tank of fuel. Possibly fresh tires. But like I said, sometimes with these cars, fresh tires help. Sometimes they don't, because they take so long to warm up the tires. Sometimes it's just better to stay on the old set. Several drivers have had success on that here on the sim, while others, me personally, I like switching them. Prior to last year's, I think it was June update, where they changed the tire physics and the tire wear and everything like that. Prior to that, I would have stayed out. Now I changed. Doesn't make too much a difference for me. Just takes me a lap or two to get the tires warmed up. But some drivers like to stay out on those old sets. So if you're taking a full tank of fuel, it really doesn't matter, because you're going to be about the same pit stop anyway. But seeing a few drivers come in, take fuel, some taking tires, it's kind of a mixed strategy so far as pit times. Some are over 15 seconds, some are on the short end of 14 seconds. So those would show they take fuel only, possibly like Jolene Sims taking fuel only most likely, as well as Drew Jua. But here comes your race leader, Isaac Shelley, down pit road. So he's going to be the next one to come on down, as well as JT Sipes behind. But here's where your race leaders currently sit. Min Hang and Eric O'Connor, they just get right back into the action. They really didn't get a chance to breathe as we went from a second here, a lap where they're separated because of Eric O'Connor coming in early. And we're back at it again. But it looks like Min Hang might have taken tires there as he slides the car on the exit on the front stretch. You see Tim Moore in the background takes his pit stop as well. So it looks like most everybody coming down pit road at this point. But Eric O'Connor is going to work his way around Min Hang. And so Eric O'Connor, now your race leader. While the rookies still run 1-2. It looks like Eric O'Connor might have the pace as he's pulling away here from Min Hang. We'll see if he's going to be able to separate himself, because he's had phenomenal pace this whole race. It's been absolutely insane. But you also have to keep in mind the guy that's behind them in third place. He's been watching this battle for a while, maybe from a distance, but he's been watching it for quite a while. That'll be Drew Jua, who just ran his fastest lap of the race of a 1:10.9, the first driver to dip down that low of the entire race. However, JT Sipes got in some sort of incident. Let's go see what happened there as he finds himself into pit road. Coming around the S's. Everything looks all good. A little bit of a spin on the back end. And the car, he just can't get control. Collects Luca Mazzilli as well. Oh my goodness, that was almost Jolene Sims coming up the hill. Tim Moore almost gets collected into it, and then they get it sorted out from there. But unfortunate to see here for JT Sipes, one of the front runners all race long, was the winner at Charlotte. And now finds himself at least a couple laps down, is currently 2 laps down after that incident. But Eric O'Connor taking this one and running away here at this point. Now a second ahead of Min Hang. It's been absolutely phenomenal pace for him. We'll see if he's going to be able to keep that up, though, because he's got a long way to go. Still 20 laps to go once he crosses the line. Anything can happen, as we saw. Like, JT Sipes was running really clean, really well. Was a potential top 3 driver, as he had been running up in the top 3, top 5 all race long. And just one incident, unfortunately, cost him the race. Looking a little bit further back, let's go take a look. Tim Moore here. We'll actually hop on board of Tim Moore. You can see the lap here from him. He's trying to hunt down Jolene Sims. He currently finds himself in 6th place and hoping to continue being in the top 5 for finishes. Right now, Jolene Sims stands in the way of that. She came in a lap earlier, but both drivers looking like they took fuel only, opting to stay on the older set of tires. But last lap, Jolene Sims about a 1/10 of a second faster than Tim Moore. And Tim Moore actually one of the few last drivers still on the lead lap. Jared Talmadge in 7th place, the last driver on the lead lap. Really wide exit there. Unfortunate for Tim, is going to drop him back a good bit. He's now 2 seconds behind Jolene Sims. But Jolene is, she after a rough start, she settled into to where she's at really, really nicely at this point. It was a rough start for her, but after getting, almost seemed like some of the nerves from being on pole on a road course. That's what it seemed like, because it just, she ran really well in qualifying, had a really good lap and everything, but then dropped back rather quickly from getting loose, making some contact with drivers, things like that. And now she finds herself in a nice, comfortable spot in 5th place. Yeah, she's a good while back from Isaac Shelley, but if she just keeps running smooth, she's got herself a nice top 5, and that will be a good finish for her, as well as McGinnis Esports. If we jump ahead here, Drew Jua He's got the fastest lap of the race so far. He set that 2 laps ago. He ran a 1:10.8, so his pace is just getting faster and faster as the night goes. He's trying to hunt down right now Min Hang. He can't seem to close any gap on Eric O'Connor, as Eric O'Connor has been pulling away from Min Hang. As the gap now from Min Hang to Eric O'Connor sits over 2 seconds. It's been absolutely insane pace there from the rookie in the 74 car. And who do I have winning this race? I don't know. It's going to be a tough call. Right now, it seems like it is Eric O'Connor's race to lose, but you never know. Once things get back settled, Min Hang had the best pace for the beginning of the race, and then Eric O'Connor was able to close him in. But, I mean, right now, Eric O'Connor, his pace is unmatched from any of these drivers on the grid, except for this man right here in the 4 car. But why don't we take a moment? We haven't done a crank it up here tonight. While it's a little bit more further spread out, I'm going to mute the mic. We're going to crank up the audio here and give you guys a chance to hear the see the sights and hear the sounds of Watkins Glen International. All right, so back into the action. Things are getting a little bit tighter here in the front as Min Hang is trying to close in that gap to Drew Jua. He's back under 2 seconds. Seems like the tires are back under that car. Or sorry, not Drew Jua. Sorry, to Eric O'Connor, as well as Drew Jua. He's trying to hunt down the 74 as well. And the drone here not giving us the best of angles there behind the trees, but there we go. Getting a nice view for a second there. This tree is really being bothersome for the drone view. As they go through the bus stop, Min Hang almost down to 1.5 seconds. We'll see if he's going to be able to continue that climb. But it's just been a slow grind here. Min Hang has gotten the car back underneath of him, the pace that he had earlier on. We'll see what's going to happen, but while we have a moment, just want to remind you to go check out Online Motorsports Association over on Twitter. It's at OMA_league. Over there, all information regarding the Online Motorsports Association is posted, as well as streams, exclusive content, latest news, and more, such as something that was posted today that was retweeted by the OMA League. Would have been the news about the number 2 Min Hang being signed by McGinnis Motorsports. Posted over on Twitter about Min Hang getting signed by them, and that was again retweeted by the Online Motorsports Association. So make sure you go check them out over on Twitter and give them a follow. You can also go follow Racing Lights Productions over on Twitter. It's Racing Lights Pro. And all of our races that are broadcasted are then archived over on the YouTube channel, Racing Lights Productions. So please make sure you go check that out. Give a subscribe over on that channel. And if you can, give a like on some follows. Some of the YouTube shorts been posted, some of the highlights from the races, several from Charlotte they got posted. So make sure you go check those out. But on track now, got a battle here that's been brewing for actually, it's another one going between James Mendez. He's got Luca Mazzilli right in front of him. He's trying to see if he can work his way back around Luca Mazzilli. A little bit of a wiggle there by the 45 heading into the penultimate corner, but he's going to be able to hang on to it and hold that position. Oh, that right front locks up heading into the final corner. And James Mendez just can't seem to close that gap quite enough. He's been on a bit of a slide after that. Seeing Kevin Urguez, oh my goodness, almost contact. And Luca Mazzilli having a lot of trouble locking up in each of the past 3 corners. And we almost saw James Mendez just punt him into turn 1. Thankfully, both drivers able to keep that out of danger. It's a very dangerous situation to be in, especially for James Mendez. A code brown, as you would for both drivers. So as we go throughout the final 13 laps, everybody pretty spread out, as you can see over on the track map. Only a few drivers really in a fight here, and that would be the top 3. However, it's right now a game of cat and mouse almost. Who can catch who, as they're all 3 about a second away from each other. So trying to close the gap on each other. But then this is the closest battle on track. Besides that, everybody else in terms of track position, about anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds away from each other, and things are just spread out. And that is just the nature of road course racing when it comes especially to stock cars. You get some of these drivers not as familiar with making these right-hand turns into the road courses. Sometimes it just incidents happen, things like that, or the natural paces start to show. But you get battles like this where it's just a game here. Who's going to sneeze first? James Mendez has had some really good runs, just is trying to be hesitant, doesn't want to ruin the car. He's already gone into an incident once where he had to get damage repaired, doesn't want to have to do that again, as well as Luca Mazzilli. Luca's gotten caught up in incidents throughout tonight's race. That beautiful 45 car, unfortunately, has gotten repaired once already. He doesn't want to have to do that again. So both these drivers trying to be very conservative in how they make moves here in the closing laps. But James Mendez has an opportunity to look down to the inside. You can see again, Mendez just has trouble entering some of these heavier braking zones. You can see again a lockup on the right front from Mazzilli, and that's where Mendez is going to be able to try and make a move. A nice smooth corner should be able to give him an opportunity to make a pass here on the 45. We'll see if he's going to be able to make a move into turn 1. Mazzilli's been locking up each time. A big lockup there again. That right front just really getting torn up each and every lap, as it just seems time and time again something is going on for him. But we do have an incident on track, and one of Kevin Urguez getting the tow to pit road. Let's go see what happened and caused him to find his way onto pit road. Not the cleanest exit out of the bus stop. Cuts that really good, and then here we go. Yep, it's the curb again. That little bump. There's a spot on that exit of the carousel. If you run it wide, oh my, that is a big hit on the tire barrier. Thankfully, This is not the actual Gen 7 car. He is safe and is able to walk away from the infield care center. No issues, no concussions. But yeah, there's that spot on the car. Oh my, Luca Mazzilli is sideways. And that is just unfortunate. I mean, we've seen the past couple laps that Mazzilli has had trouble heading into that corner in particular. He gives himself a wiggle every time. He locks up on the entry of the final corner. But yeah, it finally gets him. The car bites and turns him around. Really unfortunate situation there for the 45 car, because he was running really well with James Mendez. It was a really good battle going on between the two of them. But he finds himself now back behind Mendez. Has a good while to fight if he's going to try and move back up. So let's go take a look here at the battle here for the top three. They are spread out, each of them about a second and a half away from each other. You can see just in the past lap, or past couple laps, Min Hang has been faster than Drew Jua. Drew had phenomenal pace earlier, and it seems like it's kind of faded on him. Maybe the tire wear is starting to set in. He clips the wall on the exit there of the final corner. But if we go up to Min Hang here, he's kind of been cutting even when it comes to trying to catch Eric O'Connor. He gained a couple tenths and has also lost a couple tenths. So really has not made any ground here, which is just crazy to think that throughout this entire race, Eric O'Connor gained so much time and has just been so clean, so smooth. But, I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due for Min Hang. He came out from pit road, had the lead, lost the lead, dropped back over 2 seconds away from Eric O'Connor, and has reeled him back in at least to a second and a half on multiple occasions. So he's been doing a really good job reining it back in. They just can't seem to get that little extra bit. The consistency from O'Connor has just been unmatched here on track tonight. Let me take a look a little bit further back in the field here. Let's take a look at Jolene Sims and how she has been running. She's been trying to hold off that of Tim Moore. And Tim's still a good bit back, but you can see that he unfortunately just has not had the pace that he typically has. Although in the last lap, he gained a bunch of time there on Jolene Sims. You can see the last lap, or last two laps, he has gained over a second and a half of time. So maybe she's slipping a little bit. I know we saw the incident where Luca Mazzilli was sideways and she had to try and avoid that, so that slowed her down a little bit. But at this point in time, Tim Moore has tried to close that gap. He's still a good bit away, and yeah, there you go. That last lap lost a lot of that time that he had gained over the past 2 laps. But another driver that we haven't talked too much about would be that of Isaac Shelley. He's just kind of all by himself right now in 4th place. I mean, not a bad spot to be, that is for sure, but he is all by himself coming out of the carousel. He's got 10 seconds to Drew Jua in front of him, but then about 19 seconds to Jolene Sims behind him. So he's really all by himself when it comes to racing anybody. He's just hoping that the top 3 drivers get into a fight here with the final couple laps and some sort of incident's made so he can make his way into that top 3 and make his way back onto the podium. But it's just been smooth driving here for the 98. Trying to keep pretty consistent. I mean, his lap times are nothing to joke about. They're some of the fastest on track, but the problem is the guys up the front have just been super consistent with it all race long. And we'll keep going through the field here, looking at some of the other drivers here. Some that we haven't really talked too much about. One of those being the number 7, Jonathan Amodio in the Wendy's car. He has not really gotten a lot of time here on the broadcast. Hasn't been involved in a ton of battles, but has just quietly run his race. And that's one of the things that I mentioned at the top of the broadcast. This really is a race, not as much of racing other drivers. While, yeah, I mean, some of these guys are. You've seen some really good fights going on throughout the entire field. But Jonathan Amodio's just been quietly running his race. He's been racing the track rather than racing the drivers, and it's paid off for him really well because he's moved himself up a bunch of spots into the top 10. He's currently sitting in 9th place. His lap times, that comparable to Jared Newton and some of the other drivers around him like Luca Mazzilli and Greg Corte. But unless something insane happens, I mean, the worst he's going to finish, it looks like he's going to be 10th place, because Justin Sipes trying to close that gap in. But it's going to be interesting to see if Sipes will be able to get it done. We can actually hop on board here for that of Jonathan Amodio. And you can actually see Jared Talmadge, last car on the lead lap, fighting behind them. So Talmadge at least has been able to recover all right from the incident between him and Shelley. He got, if you don't recall, he got turned off into the boot a while ago. But it was a very intense racing between him and Isaac Shelley, and it just came to a point where peppers boiled over and somebody ended up sideways. But a little bit of damage on that car. It's still been running really well. He's been running really good times, keeping up with times of Tim Moore and Jolene Sims, even though he's not fighting with them. A little lock up there from Modio. Here comes JT Sipes around the outside, coming up the hill into the S's. It's going to be some tight racing, especially with Jared Talmadge behind. Jared Talmadge gets behind into the inside of Jonathan Modio, and Modio just decides to avoid any sort of incident, any sort of situation to get involved in a wreck there, and just lets them both through. Could be a very smart move there by Amodio. Still finds himself in 10th place. The top 10 on a road course. Definitely a great thing to find. That is for sure. Also take a look here back at the 13 of Brad Qualls. Brad had some really good battles going on earlier. Just unfortunate that he's fallen back a good bit. His pace has been very consistent, running around his fastest all race long, but just hasn't been able to catch up with, say, drivers like Jonathan Modio, where he's been on pace with him. He's been on pace with Greg Corte, Luca Mazzilli. Those drivers just able to be a little bit quicker, a little bit more consistent. Brad Qualls still finds himself in 14th, so it's going to be an opportunity for him to possibly move up in the points standings, as he's currently right on the outside of that top 20. Oh, I hear somebody's tires sliding, and that would be, yep, there it is. Luca Mazzilli right on the exit of the bus stop, and just another situation for him. He just has not had very good luck here tonight. Thankfully, the car looks drivable still. A little bit of damage there on the right front, but nothing too intense. As long as he can just wheel it around for the next couple of laps. He's only got 4 more to go. And JT Sipes now finds himself sideways. Oh, and he catches that wall real hard. That's going to be his race. And this race has just gone from bad to worse for Sipes. That is just, a terrible way to end it. Your Stars and Stripes 300 winner just unfortunately finds himself out of the race after that. As we get ready, 3 to go. As Eric O'Connor gets ready to cross the line. Min Hang under fire from that of Drew Jua. It's been a long ways in the making. Drew looks to the inside, is going to maybe go for a crossover. Has the opportunity. Min gets a little loose on exit, and Drew is going to be right on his bumper as they go up the hill. And let's take a look at this here. We'll see Drew from his sim give you a look at what it looks like here on the inside of the car. Or at least on the other side of the sim. Very focused, very intense here, because this is a huge battle here. Drew currently the points leader, trying to see if he can stay ahead here and widen his gap. He's going to widen it over Tim Moore, but Min Hang has been gaining speed as each and every race goes. As we come on the exit here, Min Hang gets a very good runoff from the carousel, and going into the final 2 corners, he's going to have himself a decent gap. Almost just about a half second as we get to the front stretch. 4-2 to go. Barney the flag man throws out the popsicle sticks. The 2 to go here for Eric O'Connor as he leads the field around. But this is where the battle is on track. The only one going on track at this point of the race. Min Hang, it's a wide exit, and that's where we've seen Drew Jua gain time, is on the exit of 1 and through the S's. But is he going to be able to try and make a move as we go into the bus stop? If he's going to make a move, he's got to set it up soon because he is starting to lose that gap. We go on to the backstretch here. Getting up to the bus stop. He's going to gain some time, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to wait and see if he can set it up on the exit here. Try and make a move heading into the carousel or maybe out of the carousel. Gets that back end to kick out a little bit. Min Hang still holding on. Holds on to that nice about third second lead over Drew Jua in the carousel's bend where he gains most of his time and actually widens the gap as you see that exit. He takes it extremely wide, but it works out really well for him because he carries that extra speed into these final two corners. Here comes Eric O'Connor. O'Connor's getting ready to take the white flag. Barney the flagman has the white out, and he is waving it strong here for the rookie. As right now the rookies are locking out the top two. Can they keep Drew Jua out of the top two and lock him into third place? Drew catches a little bit of grass into the entry of turn one. He's pushing hard as he's trying to see if he can make his way around Min Hang. He has fought hard to close this gap over about the past 10-15 laps and is finally there. Pushing the car a little too hard as he slides up the hill, but he's going to be able to keep that car underneath of him. He's going to try and close it in into the bus stop. He's got some great pace. He's within a quarter of a second. Not enough of a move to make a dive, though. He's going to cut this corner real tight through the bus stop. He's going to go into the carousel trying to see if he can get that nose down low. Pushes Min Hang, but it actually costs him huge. Sends him way wide through the carousel, and that is going to probably be enough here to give Eric O'Connor the win. And let's jump up here to Eric O'Connor. The rookie is going to take the road course here at Watkins Glen. So we've got Eric O'Connor taking first place. We'll see. Min Hang keeps that distance for second place. Drew Jua back in third. We have a little bit, still a while to go here. Some drivers still haven't come around. Jolene Sims and Tim Moore. Tim's closed that gap down to less than a second, but it's not going to be enough with the last two corners coming through. So Jolene Sims gets a top five. A great finish for her. She's had great pace all season long, just hasn't been able to get the finishes that she wants, and finally gets a strong one here. Fifth place for Jolene Sims. Tim Moore finds himself in sixth. And you're going to round out your lead lap, at least, will be that of Jared Talmadge. So a couple cars still coming through. But while we wait for those cars to finish up and before we go through the grid, I just want to remind you that tonight's race is presented and sponsored by FRG Designs. FRG Designs will cover anything from paint schemes to graphics and everything in between that you need. Fisher has got you covered. Make sure you go check out FRG Designs, the official graphic designer of the OMA. So everybody cross the line. Let's go take a look here at your race results. So your race winner, his first win of the season, is Eric O'Connor in the 74. A great run for him. It's been pure domination all race long once he managed to catch up to Min Hang. Second place would be that of Min Hang, and third place, Drew Jua. In fourth place, we have Isaac Shelley, and rounding out the top five, Jolene Sims, Tim Moore, and Jared Talmadge round out the lead lap. Drew's car is ruined in the background. Jared Newton is in 8th place. He's only one lap down. Jonathan Modio moved back up into 9th place. And then James Mendes rounds out your top 10. Luca Mazzilli is in 11th. Greg Corte in 12th. Brad Qualls 13th. Ryan Miniker 14th. JT Sipes in 15th. And then Kevin Yerguay is in 16th. 17th would be Kyle England. And then rounding out the field, filling in for Tyler Glass, is that of Victor Imbasiani. So let's see if we can get our race winner here in the booth. It looks like he is ready to go. Let's pull him on in here. And we have here in the booth your race winner, at Watkins Glen, the rookie, Eric O'Connor. And Eric, how's it feel to get your first win here in the VRC?
Relieving. It's very nice to get this. I've had this one circled. Honestly, this week has not been the best of weeks for me, so wasn't in the best of moods coming into this. Then I botched qualifying really bad. Then I really wasn't in a great mood. Yeah, I don't know how this one came to be, but got it done, I guess.
Yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it seemed like the beginning of the race on the cold tires, the car just didn't want to run the way you wanted to. But then once you got about 10, 15 laps in, you had an unmatched pace. Was it just you needed to get comfortable with the car, get comfortable racing in traffic? What was going on there that really got you to where you were running the entire race with that lap times like low 211s, high 210s?
Yeah, I honestly I wasn't even looking at lap times until after I got the lead, and then I realized at one point that my last lap was like a 2 or a 1:10.8, and I was just like, what? Because I was just kind of just so focused on just hitting my marks. Yeah, at the start, like I said, I was really kicking myself for messing up qualifying. I felt like I took my shot of the win away from myself, and man, yeah, I was just, it took me a while to get a groove going, but somewhere in there I got a groove going, and yeah, it just kept coming.
Now, looking forward in the schedule, we've got both Road America and Long Beach and the Charlotte Roval. When it comes to road courses, are those tracks that we could expect to see you have some strong pace again like we did today?
I think Road America will probably be similar to here for everybody. It's a pretty simple track. I don't feel Watkins Glen is too terribly technical. Road America, I would say, is even more, so I think the field will be a bit tighter. So I think that'll be a bit more wide open. Long Beach, though, I come from doing Indy cars, and street circuits are just a big passion of mine, so I'm really looking forward to that.
All right, well, next week we head to the new Atlanta Motor Speedway, so we look forward to seeing what you got in store for us there. But before you head out for tonight, do anybody you want to thank? Anything you would like to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Huge shout out to Backstage Guitar Lab. If you're in the St. Louis area, definitely check them out if you have a guitar that needs some work. They do a great job, and I'm really grateful for them being on board.
All right, well, thank you again, Eric, for joining us in the booth, and congratulations on your first win here in the VRC.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to bring in our second place finisher. He is back in the booth with us again, that of Min Hang. And Min, congratulations on second place here at Watkins Glen.
Oh yeah, thanks. It was definitely a sweaty race. Was just trying not to make any dumb mistakes. If you hit a curb or the wrong way, you can spin out. So was just trying not to make too many mistakes. I mean, we might have won the race if we had done a little here and there, maybe if I took the right amount of fuel, maybe if I took 4 tires, whatever. But I mean, second place isn't too bad, so not complaining.
No, second place is definitely a great spot to be, especially after we talked to you last race at Charlotte, where you unfortunately got involved in that incident and everything like that. So it's a great way to bounce back with a second place finish. But all race long, you had phenomenal pace. You ran away with the race early on, and then all of a sudden Eric O'Connor came up in your rearview mirror. What was it like? What was going through your head when just all of a sudden he came out of nowhere?
The truth is that looking in retrospect, the first half of the race I was taking it super conservative because of the whole trying not to make too many mistakes. But truthfully, I just needed the pace that we had the last half of the race in the first half, and we might have got it. That's why he caught me. I was just playing it safe and slow, and yeah, I was running faster laps the last half than I was the whole first half, regardless of tire wear. So yeah.
Now, I asked the same question over to Eric here, but looking forward for the road course we have this season, we have Road America, the Charlotte Roval, and then Long Beach, which Long Beach is not a traditional NASCAR circuit, but the other two we've been running for NASCAR for at least the past 2 seasons. What can we expect from you going forward into the road course? Is it going to be similar with this fast pace? Do you feel comfortable with the car there? Is it going to be, what can we see from the number 2 machine?
So for Road America, I'm not too sure. I haven't bought the track yet. I haven't done any laps. So, but we have a few weeks until then, so we'll see until then. But Roval, I've vlogged some laps, but I'd say I have no idea. I don't know what to expect. I've done it more than the Glen, so maybe I've been just as fast. Maybe I don't know, but we'll see.
All right. Well, man, before you head on out, I want to say congratulations on signing with McGinnis Motorsports. It's a big move for you. And before you head on out, anybody you would like to thank?
Not really. I guess thanks for signing me to the team, and hope on the broadcast you got a peek at the rear of the car. I don't know if you
we
noticed.
we got a couple views at it.
Oh yeah, it was pretty good.
It's good. I enjoyed it. But thank you again, Min, and congratulations on second place here tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to talk to our third place finisher, Drew Jua. And Drew, I just want to say before we kick things off, thank you for giving us the opportunity to see into your sim rig and seeing the real life you driving. It was really cool to be able to have you on stream, and hopefully something we can start having more drivers in on as we go throughout the season. But thank you for that. And congratulations on third place here tonight.
Yeah, it's not how I wanted the race where I overtook Eddie on the most all-time OMA starts. I didn't want it to go like that. Got all out of shape lap 3 behind JT and ended up spinning out, going 8 seconds behind, falling 8 seconds behind Minhang. And there was times where I felt like I may have been able to bring it back, but we got in too many battles with cars that were good enough to keep us in front. We got in a battle with JT, Ike, Jarrett, and at the end we finally caught up to Minhang. But he was running fast enough times where I wouldn't have been able to pass him without wrecking him. So we'll take a third place finish, third at halfway. But man, we got a lot of pace. For us to spin out, go 8 seconds behind the leader, and only finish 3.5-ish behind the leader is pretty upsetting. I'm not taking away from Eric. He was lights out. We did a practice race earlier this week with we're associated for everybody, and he wrecked out, but me and him were in the same amount pace. I mean, we were running faster than we were in that test session. So, we'll take a third place and run with it. But I wanted to get that win on my I think 184th start. I don't know. There's too many to count, but nonetheless, we'll take a third place here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, a win definitely would have been good, but I totally forgot that you had spun earlier on, and that's how you ended up so far. But I mean, again, you pushed really, really well, had phenomenal pace all race. For a while, we're the fastest car on track next to Eric. But I'm curious, how much did track conditions play into grip and pace? Because the track temperature when we went green was like 125 degrees. Did that play into you being able to try and catch those guys up front, being able to close that gap in with Eric?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it played the biggest role. I mean, I was obviously slipping and sliding, I was getting on the throttle a lot more than I probably should have. But yeah, he said he wasn't sliding. I was sliding like 1 or 2 times a lap. I mean, it wasn't enough to really kill my tires, but at the end there, when I caught up to Minhang, I mean, I was all out. I was like as much as I could get on the power, a lot of overcorrects, and I was really trying to get Minhang, but like I said, I gave him a little bump in the carousel on the white flag, but it wasn't enough. I was just hoping that maybe I could bump him up a little up the track, but I didn't want to like fully take him out and wreck him. But at the end of the day, that race was a lot of fun. It was nice to kind of drive through the pack. It's kind of difficult when you get behind someone with a decent amount of pace. I mean, 112s and 111s were pretty similar, and you see it kind of like how it is in NASCAR, like the Xfinity Series today. Creed was able to really hold off the cars behind him, and when Justin Allgaier really finally got around him, he was able to dart away. So, like I said, we'll take a third place finish, another top 5, and I think we also extend our points lead over Tim just a little bit. So it's nice to do that. I'm not sure if I'll be able to race next week or the next week, so we'll hope. But it's nice to get a solid finish this week.
Yeah, solid finish definitely is going to help build that points lead. So if you do miss 2 weeks, that hopefully isn't going to hurt you too much, but we'll have to wait and see if you're going to be able to make it those next 2 weeks. But before we have you head on out, anything you would like to say before you head on out and go celebrate your 3rd place finish?
Oh yeah, shout out to Team OCM. Once again, we get another win. I think this is our 3rd win of the season, 2nd different winner. Tim's been close. Ryan's been solid all season. Luca, who's pretty new to iRacing, had some unfortunate things go his way, and he ended up finishing where he started. But also shout out to you in the broadcast booth. It's always a pleasure going back and watching back these races. We'll go on to I think is it New Atlanta first? Now I think about it, New Atlanta first. And we'll see if we can race. If not, then I'll be watching on from the stream. So thank you again for broadcasting.
And not a problem, Drew. Thank you again for joining me up here near the booth. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish.
Thank you.
All right, so with all that being said, we're going to wrap it up for tonight here at the virtual Watkins Glen. Our first road course of the season went very, very well. Only a couple big incidents, some drivers getting loose, stuff like that. But some of these drivers, again, like we've been saying all season long, new to the sim. Some don't get onto the road side of things very often, so it's a big shakeup for them, especially like Watkins Glen. It's a lot of right-hand turns instead of just left. But they did a very good job. All drivers did a phenomenal job. There's just a couple spots here on this track that really caused trouble. Like we saw the exit of the carousel would cause incidents. If you catch the curbing just wrong, it's going to kick your car way loose. Same as you go over the bus stops. If you're not careful, that car can curb hop and break out on you. But other than that, we really didn't see any other spots that had major incidents. We had 1 or 2 coming up the hill on the S's, but that was really it. So really good race again from here, and from the OMA guys from the VRC series. But we're going to head on out for tonight. I want to take a moment to thank all of you again for joining us here at No Name Gaming for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship FRG Designs 55 at the Glen. Congratulations to Eric O'Connor for taking his first win in the VRC tonight. Make sure you join us next week for our first of 2 races at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next week's race, the drivers will face a newly reconfigured Hot Atlanta. You can go check out tonight's broadcast. If you miss any parts of it, it'll be here live on Twitch, or you can go check it out on the YouTube channel, Racing Lights Productions, and you can go check out Racing Lights Productions on Twitter at Racing Lights Pro to catch up when we go live for any broadcast for the OMA VRC. I want to thank the OMA for allowing us to bring this race to all of you tonight. And my name is Alex Light, saying good night to you from the virtual Watkins Glen International. Thanks again for tuning in.